Welcome to the Boyertown Museum of Historic Vehicles. Our museum has over 90 road vehicles on display, and most of them were built right here in the great state of Pennsylvania. I'm Kendra Cook, and I'm going to show you around. Behind me is a Conestoga Wagon from 1827. It was built in Burnville, Pennsylvania, so right here in Berks County. And this is a really important vehicle for the time. You know, a lot of people think that Conestoga wagons were used to move the pioneers out west. That's actually not true. They were really freight vehicles, so think like an early version of the tractor trailer. This one's really neat and unique because of the beautiful ironwork you can see, especially on that side toolbox with the tulip hinges. You'll notice on the Conestoga wagon, the wheels are extremely large. It needs a really big brake in order to control this piece. You'll also see a tar pot hanging by the side. That's to grease the axles. You know, even though it's not a car, it still requires quite a bit of maintenance to keep this thing in good running condition. Unfortunately, we've lost the canvas top to time. You know, that degraded a lot faster than the other pieces. We do have a really neat hand-carved model here, though. You can see what it would have looked like with the top. You can also see how the team of horses would have been hooked up to something like this. So this is the earliest motorized piece that we have here at the museum. This is what we call the Hill car, and it's named for James Hill, the man who built it. It's the only car he built, and even though I just said man, we know he was really a kid when he started building this. He was in his teens, about the 1870s, when he started to make this car. Now, he worked at a carriage works in Fleetwood, Pennsylvania, so he had learned kind of how to build a carriage, and really he just kind of woke up one day, I guess, and decided he didn't want a horse with his carriage. So he came up with this, the Hill car. And you can see definitely the carriage body influence there. The pieces that he sort of cannibalized to use, he took a wheel off a sewing machine as the steering wheel. If you look underneath, you'll see a leather belt that's working the driving. So he was a really, really inventive guy. The only car he built, he invented a lot of different things, but this was the only car. I'm here with our 1902 Durier. It's one of several Duriers that we have on display here. Now, this was built in Reading, Pennsylvania, and it was built by Charles Durier. Now, before he came to Reading, in 1892, Charles, along with his brother Frank, built what is considered to be the first commercially marketed car in the United States. And they did that in Massachusetts. And unfortunately, sibling rivalry kind of got in the way, and they split up soon afterwards. And Charles came to Reading to build Durier cars. He was known for several things, one of which is the use of the tiller instead of a steering wheel. He did not believe that steering wheels were particularly effective, so he stuck with this method, the tiller. It's almost like a centrally mounted joystick. One of the reasons he liked it is that you, the driver, could choose whether to sit on the right or the left side. He also was using air-inflated tires pretty early on. A lot of cars were still using hard rubber tires in 1902. You know, Charles is very famous in the Reading area. If you've been to Reading and you've seen the beautiful red pagoda on top of the mountain there overlooking the city, to get to that pagoda is a twisty, turny road called Durier Drive. It's named in his honor, and he used that road to essentially test drive his Reading-built vehicles. This is a 1913 SGV built in Reading. The SGV stands for the initials of the three gentlemen who started this company. The S is for Sternberg, who is a big name in the Reading area, really into the iron industry. This car was bodied by the Fleetwood Metal Body Works, maker of fine luxury custom car bodies. So it's extra special. The car itself was built in Reading, the body was in Fleetwood. It's a true Berks County treasure. Another thing to make sure you check out on this car is the steering wheel. You'll see 5 push buttons there. That is for push button transmission on this car. Yes, a 1913 car has an original push button transmission. It was made by a company called Vulcan, and you'll also notice a gear shifter on the floor. That's because, unfortunately, the push button transmission was not too reliable, and another owner installed the gear shift later. Now we're here by our 1919 Detroit Electric. And yes, I said Detroit. This is one of our pieces not built in Pennsylvania, but we have it here because we think that the story of the electric car is an important one to tell. So it comes as a surprise to a lot of people that electric cars are not new. They've been around really as long as the gasoline cars have been. So this one, really sleek, and it looks like maybe there's an engine hiding under there. There isn't. It's all batteries up here in the front, and we have batteries back here in the trunk as well. So really not a lot of storage space. The only space in here is really where you would sit and drive. Electric cars like this one also take a cue, I guess, from the Durier we saw earlier. They don't have a steering wheel. They have these set of levers. You'll see there's 2 levers in there. The longer one is for steering, and the shorter lever is to control forward and reverse. So as you walk down this nice little aisle here, you'll see some great examples of Fleetwood metal body works, coach work, and some of the great Fords that we have, and another coach builder in Durham here with our green, beautiful 37 Chrysler. And then you get to this little gem here, a 1940 American Bantam, really dwarfed by the Chrysler that's next to it. Bantam was really trying to build these smaller cars, and before it was known as American Bantam, it was known as American Austin, and it was supposed to be an American version of the British-made Austin car. They changed their name to American Bantam. They changed the engine design a little bit. Some of that was to stave off financial problems, and some of it was to avoid continuing to pay royalties to the British Austin company. But this is the Bantam car that they came up with. Unfortunately, really, Americans weren't ready for small, compact cars in the 30s and 40s like we are today. Now, American Bantam does go on to make a bit of history, too, when World War II starts, because they are really credited with inventing what we have come to know today as the Jeep. Thank you for joining us for this quick little tour of the Boyertown Museum of Historic Vehicles. We are open 7 days a week, 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. We're just closed the major holidays. As you can see, there's a lot here, and there's a lot more that we'd love for you to see. So we hope you'll visit us. You can find us online at www.boyertownmuseum.org, or if you're on Facebook, find us there. We update all the time. So we hope you see you soon.